So like I was saying earlier, I'm David Aguayo. I'm one of the apprenticeship coordinators at Local 242 for King County. We also do have Mike Kuntz and Jamie Beethe. They are my colleagues. Mike's been a little bit longer than us. I myself have gone through 2 apprenticeships already. And Jamie went through the apprenticeship program as well. She was getting ready to be, she was actually a foreman out on a job site before she took on this position. I'm not going to try to take up too much time, but a laborer is pretty much the most diverse craft out in the field. I chose becoming a laborer because the first career that I took, I liked doing it, but it wasn't really a passion. And I was lucky enough to know about apprenticeships. I was lucky enough to know what a union was at the age of 16. So right before I even finished high school, I knew college was not in my future. I knew college was not even my calling at all. So you don't have to go to college in order to actually have a livable wage. And that's something that I believe in personally. And so far, it's been doing well. I've been able to support 4 kids, my wife, and other family members within my community. Let me see. Some of the skills that laborers do have is cleaning up job sites, but that is only one of the minimum skills that we have, or one of the smaller tasks that we have throughout the entire job site. We are the first ones on the job sites. We are the last ones to leave. I can attest to being the last one on one of the last projects I was at, which was the 520 floating bridge. I was the last laborer there that gave this final signature to send it off to WashDOT and move forward onto the I-90 bridge after that. We are the ones that mix and place all the concrete. We do tend to some of the pumps, the grout, and also a lot of the fireproofing or shotcreting is something we specialize in. Shotcreting is pretty much concrete being thrown out of a nozzle onto a wall. So if anybody has passed by I-90 and seen on the left side going towards the mountains where all that concrete is at on the rocks, trying to put it all together, that's shotcreting. It's a special certification that we have through the laborers, and once you become certified, you'll never be out of work there. Luckily, we have that training for everybody. The other side is the heavy highway. We do most of the traffic control that happens up and down I-5, 405, even within the city. We're the ones that are putting out the barricades and picking them up early in the mornings. We also do a lot of the pipe laying work, which is anything outside a building door is gonna be a labor actually laying the pipe, because we have to learn how to position it, what grade it's supposed to be at, what percentage, what bevel you're using, what special gasket you're using. And as you're going through the apprenticeship program, you get that training to learn how to be a pipe layer. As people proceed moving forward, a lot of people tend to find their own niche halfway through the program. Some stick with just concrete alone. Some like to just stick with the pipe laying, grading. You'll find your own home once you actually are out there in the field. Another big thing that we do is environmental. We have our OSHA, but we also do have our Hazmat 40 class, and as well our asbestos lead removal class. Those are 2 specialty classes that are required while you're going through the program as well. You'll get those more towards the end of the 6,000 hour program that we have. If anybody knows where Hanford, Washington is, a lot of our laborers out there are actually doing the work, trying to contain all that hazmat waste that has been left there for years, and we're doing all the cleanup. Any type of decontamination, or whenever there's a big like hurricane, for example, or oil spill, Normally laborers are the first ones on the job site because we have that certification nationwide. Some of the specialty work that we do have, which is actually pretty
I'm not
exciting if
able
you get
to
into it.
hear.
Say it again. Oh, I thought that was a question. Sorry. So some of the specialty work that we do have is tunnel work, rail work, all the sound transit that is going on up and down I-5 right now. 40% to 50% of that work is actually being done by laborers. We're the ones laying down the track. We have the laser guided equipment to know how it needs to be, what grade level needs to be as well. When it comes to tunneling, I was a part of a tunnel over by UW to Capitol Hill. And that TBM that you see there in the picture, it's actually a working TBM. It's the only one in the nation that is set up to be able to train our members and our apprentices how to safely work inside a tunnel. Because when you're inside of that TBM, there's more than 130 parts continuously moving at the same time, pushing forward as it's taking dirt out. And you're also trying to put in lines to keep up with the TBM. I'm moving forward over to how to apply with the laborers. We always, especially with the young crowd, we always like to mention PACE, a new and youth build, and some of the other pre-apprenticeship programs that are out there. I highly, highly recommend going through a pre-apprenticeship program. If you're not sure exactly what trade you want to go to, with the pre-apprenticeship program, you get to actually touch it all. You'll go with the carpenters, you'll have a field day with the operators, the iron workers, the laborers, the cement masons. You'll be able to see what each trade does, so that way you can see what is your best fit. Because laborers isn't for everybody. Carpenters isn't for everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, I was part of the drywall finishers trade. I went through their program. It really wasn't my thing. It was a little too slow paced for myself. So I went out and found a different trade that I had to actually start from the bottom up again. Ultimately, once you finish a pre-apprenticeship program, your application does get put on top of the list, kind of like a priority, because L&I is pressuring a lot of our contractors to have pre-apprentices, graduates on their job sites. I don't know how other programs are with their drug tests. With us, we have a no drug policy, not even marijuana. It is legal in the state of Washington, but federally, it is definitely illegal. A lot of our contractors end up getting these federal funds, so they have to go off of federal rules, federal regulations. I know it sucks, you don't get to party anymore, but that's where priority kind of comes in. Either you want to go party or you want to make money. Personally, I'm the type of person that I have no vice because I'd prefer to make the money. Especially at a young age, I'd rather make that money now that I can when my body is at its ultimate, rather than trying to seek it out when I'm 40, 50 years old and try to just barely start my career. And believe me, I've had a couple actual applicants be in their 50s, 55, just wanting to start their careers because they wanted to go out and party at their young age. But like I said, again, priorities. Gotta have priorities straight. These are our wages and the structure of how it works going through the apprenticeship program. You start off at 60% with no knowledge, no experience whatsoever, $23.89 an hour. That's what you take home. On top of that, there is a $12 benefit package. It's what we call our fringe benefits. You get your medical, your dental, your vision. If you're married and you have 10 kids, all 10 kids get the medical. Not saying go out and have 10 kids, but everybody is all welcome to it. The training, all the training that you receive throughout the apprenticeship program is free. And that is something that I believe in and always have been a believer, as I don't want to pay somebody to sit up in front of a classroom to read out of a book if I can do that on my own time. I'd rather get paid to learn a skill where later on in the future, it's going to benefit the contractor because I'm making them money as well. So we're both winning in the long run. That's one big reason why I'm a high believer in the apprenticeship programs. As moving forward, as you progress in the program, every 1,000 hours that you work outside in the field, you go to class for 2 weeks. Once you complete your 2-week class, you get your first raise. It's almost a $4 raise. 1,000 hours comes out to being about 6 to 8 months, depending on how much you're working. But if you're working a 40-hour week every week, it's about 6 months. So within the first year, if you look at the numbers, you could have about an $8 raise. I don't know any other company out there that will give you an $8 raise in 1 year. So this is kind of what goes back to what I was saying earlier. Priorities, either you want to party or you want to make money. Oh, I just got given a 2-minute warning. Move forward to the mandatory requirements. Got to be 18 years of age, have a valid driver's license, and have proof that you've at least completed the 10th grade. As long as you can provide proof with the transcript of your high school that you completed the 10th grade to go to the 11th, you can come and apply with the laborers. Other than that, it's either a GED or a high school diploma. We can't accept bachelor degrees or college degrees just because you can get into a college without having to actually finish high school. This is extra credit that you can bring with you at the day of orientation or the day that you're coming to apply. They like to call it orientation. I call it more of an information/application and assessment, because you're also going to get assessed. It's 120 questions. It's about an hour, 15 minutes long, but it's just to test your knowledge, just to see what you know. One of the biggest things right now, because of coronavirus, we have to make all our orientations by appointment only. You can go ahead and jot this number down, give us a call, let us know that you have all the required documents, and we can set you up for an appointment. Once we set you up for the appointment on the orientation date, it kind of depends on what the contractors need and what the hall is needing as far as being able to come in and get an interview and starting your process through the apprenticeship. Once you get interviewed, we send you to a PCT class, which is our pre-construction training class. And once you complete that class, you are an apprentice with the laborers. The PCT is just a physical part of the interview or physical part of our application process. We want to make sure you're physically fit to do the type of work that we do. Those are some pictures of what PCT is all about, all physical work. A little bit more about PCT, trying to take too much time on it. And these are the numbers that you can contact us at, or you can also go to nwlett.org and find out more information, get more videos, or go to our Facebook page. And I think that is it for the moment.
David, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Any questions?
Okay, we do have one question so far. Someone wrote in, are any of these jobs remote? Is there any possible way to be a laborer remotely?
Negative. It is all hands-on because you're out there trying to build America, pretty much.
Can you tell us really quickly a little bit about the apprenticeship process? You did say the training is free. Is that the school, when you're an apprentice to become a laborer?
Yeah, so the training part of it, like I was saying, it's those 2-week courses that you take in between every 1,000 hours. All that training is, the 2-week courses between the 1,000 hours. In total, you got to have 480 hours of class time by the time you complete the program.
Is the school time, is that paid work at all? Is there?
Negative.
No.
It is not paid, but you can collect unemployment while you're taking the 2 weeks. And that's also kind of where financial stability comes in, or being financially ready, knowing that you're going to have to take 2 weeks off within the next 6 months to go to class, but it's going to be worth it because you're going to get a raise right afterwards.
So when you first apply, does it start with 2 weeks of school? If you're accepted into the program for apprenticeship, does it start with 2 weeks of school?
Once you complete that pre-construction week training, you go
Okay.
to the hall and you get your first dispatch. You go straight out to work, do your 1,000 hours out in the field, and we will schedule you for class. Normally, we like to try to give everybody 30-day notice when they're scheduled for class. And we also let the contractors know that the apprentice is scheduled.
We have another question, David. Do you have to be 18 years of age to apply?
Yes, you must be 18 years of age.
Okay, so if someone were to turn 18 soon, say in November or December, how soon would you have them apply?
The day that they turn 18.
The day they turn 18, okay. And you apply by calling and make an appointment at that number that you gave us?
Yes.
Okay.
You can make an appointment ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
David, can you talk a little bit more about what PC training's about?
Yeah, so PCT training, that is, every trade out there is going to have their own Hell Week, I guess you could say. For us, they call it Hell Week. The iron workers have their own Hell Week, but it's basically just digging a ditch. It's 6 foot long by 18 inches wide, 18 inches deep. You get a pick and you get a round shovel. All the other tasks that you are tested on, you're timed. You must meet a certain amount of time to do every single task. For example, the digging part, you got to complete it in under 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, to get full 10 points. After that, they start docking off points, but you must complete the entire week with 80 points or better. If you don't complete it with 80 points or better, it's not the end of the world. We give everybody a second shot or a third shot. It's also kind of where we get to find out whether you really want it or not, because I've had some of the biggest guys. For example, not too long ago, I had an ex-football player that was going to get ready to go play with the Dragons, come in and apply. I thought he was going to be a great laborer because he was huge. He's been doing all this physical activity already. Come to find out, within 2 hours of the dig, he couldn't even do it. He went home. And I've had some of the youngest, smallest females, about 5'2", weighing no more than 110 pounds, dominate it and do better than the guys. I don't know if that answers the question.
So David, when you go through that program, are you automatically a member of the union, or are there more, is there more process involved?
Once you complete PCT, we have you come up to the hall. You join the hall as an apprentice, and you are a member of the apprenticeship, the hall, the local. For us, we do have, I believe it's a $500 one-time initiation fee, but they give you 2 months from the day you go to work to pay that off. So they have a weekly payment plan that can help you out to pay it off. Or we also have other resources that help us out, help our apprentices out.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Well, David, thank you for joining us today. For everyone here, if you have more questions, please call that phone number that David put up in the chat. David, would you also say this would be the number to call for questions, the 424-2770?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I will also